Hello, YouTube. I am sort of in between projects right now, and so I thought that I'd make this casual going for a walk and describing what I've been listening to lately video, and I hope you enjoy it. First and foremost, one of the main things that I've been listening to constantly over the past few months is the album In the End It Always Does by the Japanese House, and I hadn't ever listened to her stuff before, although I feel like I should have, because I'm a big fan of the 1975 and that sort of surrounding universe, and Maddie and George both, I think, are very involved with her music. But I saw people talking about this album, and I absolutely love it. 3 songs in particular that I think that you should check out if you haven't listened to it so far are Touching Yourself, Sad to Breathe, and Sunshine Baby. There's this sort of like sophistication within her pop sound that really gets me, and it's this very pleasant, I don't want to say it's like easy to listen to, because easy listening sounds like a bad thing, but in like a smart way, it's easy listening. Everything just flows really naturally. You're waiting for the next bridge or the chorus or whatever, and when it hits, you're like, it sounds so good. And also there's this live film with the album where she does a few of the songs, and it's breathtaking stuff. It's really, really good. Next up, this is sort of a mini review of the new Slaughter Beach Dog album, Crying, Laughing, Waving, Smiling. If you don't know, they are my favorite band over the last few years or so. Jake Ewald of modern baseball fame is probably my favorite songwriter ever. But anyway, with the new album, I knew that he was going for more of a folky sound with it, with the singles and with his live performances over the past year or so. Everything has been very sort of like 1970s folk, and I was excited for that because I love that era and that sound. But I'm ever so slightly disappointed in the album as a whole. I think that there are songs that I love, but the songs that I love are tracks that I've heard him play in these like live performance videos that I've been watching over the past year. And so it's only really like the songs that I am really obsessed with are the ones that I've already heard for like a year. Specifically, those are My Sister in Jesus Christ and Henry, which Henry is this beautiful like storytelling song about this guy, sort of the telling of a whole life in a song. But then My Sister in Jesus Christ, that's probably my favorite track on the album, and getting a more in-depth, thorough, full band live version of it is really nice, because I've only really heard him playing it on acoustic guitar. And then there was this like demo track that was also kind of bare bones. But something nice is that with the album, I sort of have been leaning more into what influenced the album. And so he's this huge fan of Townes Van Zandt, and I've never really gone into like a deep dive into his stuff before. So in another recent live performance of Slaughter Beach Dog, he covered I'll Be There, I'll Be Here in the Morning, I'll Be There in the Morning. And what a song. Again, of like sort of old school folk storytelling, just doesn't get much better than that. I was posting lyrics on my Instagram the other day, and I basically posted the whole song just because it was so great. And then similarly, in that same show, he covers a song called 13 by a band called Big Star. And I haven't heard about them before, but the song sounds very familiar. I still haven't looked into their history, but it almost seems like it would be a one-hit wonder sort of thing for them. And I pride myself on knowing one-hit wonders, so I was disappointed that I didn't know that one. But again, early 70s, it's sort of a coming-of-age thing, which for the concept of a song, I really, really like that. It's like watching your favorite coming-of-age movie in music form, talking about like going to the school dance and sort of a rebellion against your girlfriend's dad. The bridge in that song is unbelievable. And then also, I wanted to point out how funny the album cover is and the name of the album. I think it's called Number One Record, and it's just like a number one, which I think that's funny. A new Faye Webster single dropped called Lifetime, and I think she's been killing it recently. The first one was called But Not Kiss, I think, and this one, Lifetime, super moody, super atmospheric. There's an edginess to what she's been putting out this time around, and it really suits her in a weird way. She's always kind of had this, like, whether it be a seduction or this, like, kind of siren-y, in a way, she paints herself in this very heavenly, serene, but there's a possibility of something else thing about her and her music, where surface level, you're getting this, like, nice gentle aura, but then there's always been sort of a mystery surrounding her. And with these two new singles, she's advancing on that edgier sound, and it's really interesting to see. It doesn't seem manufactured. It seems very believable. She's always been very atmospheric, but now it's atmospheric in a little bit of a darker sense instead of the, like, beautiful heavenly dream sequence sense. Speaking on the new Big Thief single, I Was Born for Loving You, I think something that's really underrated about Adrienne Lenker's songwriting is that she could, like, write a pop song. Between something like Paul, Masterpiece a little bit, Simulation Swarm kind of, if you want to look at it in, like, a more alternative pop song way. But I Was Born for Loving You is a pop song. And again, it sort of does, it captures this coming of age nostalgia. She's doing these lyrics of, like, from this to this, from our teenage years to blah, 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 thank God we made it through. Between her, like, magical, spiritual, wizardess kind of mantra, I think that this is one of her most sort of complete songs that could be very widely reaching. This song, I Was Born for Loving You, is very, very welcoming in a way that I don't think a lot of their stuff can be sometimes. And so if you haven't checked Big Thief out, this is a great introduction to them. Also, one of the things that helps really put that song together is this very warm chord progression that I think lends itself to the whole nostalgia thing. I am a guy that loves Sufjan Stevens. That's the Carrie and Lowell backdrop for the set, for the concert. And sort of an amazing thing that I've been thinking about recently is that if your favorite musician, or, like, if you can't ever fault your favorite musicians, then you're too attached to them, because most geniuses, or at least, like, really high tier artists, put out some bad music. And that's something that I think is necessary to sort of advance the whole creative process, is that you're not always going to have winners. And Sufjan is absolutely one of those people that can put out music that you're like, I don't know what this is, dude. But with the two singles that have been released so far for Javelin, I think the album's called, So You Are Tired, and Will Anybody Ever Love Me? Absolutely devastating. This man is back in his depressing, hopeless, vulnerable bag. It's something that he is one of the masters of. And while over the past few years he's put out a couple duds, this I think is one to watch. And this is going to be a really emotionally draining but gorgeous album. This is not a new thing, obviously, but I've been really into the Bee Gees recently. And How Deep Is Your Love might be one of the best songs ever made. The production is so lush. It could have been made 5 years ago. It could have been made right now. It could have been made in the 90s, 2000s, whatever. It is so timeless in the way that it's recorded. The harmonies are beautiful. There's, like, orchestration in there, a really subtle rhythm section. There are electric elements being mixed with acoustic elements. It is one of the most, I think, carefully crafted songs I've ever heard in my life, and I have been listening to it every day for a month. Touching on another live performance, live music film thing, Jensen Rae's It Wasn't Supposed to Be Like This, ... She is the real deal. She is one of the best songwriters of this generation, or like an upcoming generation, if you want to put it that way. I don't think there are many people that have this combination of, like, a Gen Z state of mind with an old soul at the same time. She is obviously so intelligent, and the way that she goes about her songs, she can, like, lyrically ruin me in a way that, like, only people like Sufjan can't. And for somebody that is as young as her, that is stupid. And so with this project, whatever you want to call it, that she just released, I don't even have the words. Like, her voice is so strong. She has this bizarre, intense range. Again, one of the best songwriters of this or a future generation, but also one of the strongest vocalists. And she is just such a powerhouse in these different spheres. This is very exciting. I might be able to get a quick little interview with a local legend. Here is local bike trail cat. What is your favorite album of the year so far? What are you listening to recently? The Land is Inhospitable and So Are We by Mitski? That's an amazing choice. Why do you like it so much? Because it's a really magical representation of what like a country chamber pop folk sound can be. That's amazing. Thanks for talking to us. You heard Bike Trail Cat, and I completely agree, but I just want to add on a few things. The album is only about a half hour long, which, love that. We love a half hour long album. Mitski is someone that I've always really admired and respected for her work, but I don't find myself listening to her as much as I would like to. I'll go back to Puberty 2 a lot, but I think everything else is sort of kind of touch and go for me. Like I really like it for a day, and then I just kind of never find myself going back. But this album feels special to me, where this feels more like a realization. This is so complete, in my opinion at least. There's a simplicity with the production that sort of helps with the honesty of the lyrics. They're very attached to each other because instrumentally, we're not giving a whole lot to bite on. And so we're really focused on the lyrics and the vocals, which I think is where Mitski really shines the most anyway. And these are some of her best lyrics and vocal performances ever. Bike Trail Cat touched on it a little bit, but genre-wise, there are these very perfectly weighted sprinkles of country and Americana that I am obsessed with. I have been way more into a country sound within the past couple years than I have in my entire life. I really urge you to give country a chance. There's good stuff now, there's good stuff from 10, 20 years ago. If you look hard enough, you'll find it. And I think this sort of like modern day alt-rock country resurgence, or not resurgence, formation, introduction thing that is happening with bands like Wednesday, and it's like chocolate and peanut butter. It's a really great combination. And something that's a common opinion amongst like music historians is that country music is the most heart-wrenching place for music of all time. And so when you have someone like Mitski that has this profound emotional intensity, someone who is capable of writing songs like Heaven and I Don't Like My Mind and Bug Like an Angel, that sort of like deeply traumatic country influence is amazing. Why did it seem like there was like a strobe light happening with the sun for a second? Anyway, that's what I've been listening to. I got my 10,000 steps in. I hope you have a wonderful day. I have a new merch. Let me know if this is something that you would never want to see again, but good on me for trying something new, or if you did like it. Okay, bye.